Today, I'll show you how to break the financial curses that have held your family back and how Mammoth Money Academy is built specifically to help you do exactly that. I've helped families go from financial stress to financial strategies, pay off debt, build savings, and watch their teens become the most financially confident person they've ever seen. Imagine your child entering adulthood with zero debt, money in the bank, credit in the green, and a plan for ownership, not survival. Most of us were raised in homes that were money tight. It was really stressful. Everybody's quiet about money. They say that's an adult's situation. Don't talk about it with anybody, even amongst adults. Don't tell anybody else about your financial situation. That environment created a lot of bindings that actually hold us back. They don't propel us forward. So in this video, we're going to talk about them, hopefully break them, and hopefully you and your children can start working towards abundance and away from scarcity. So, curse number one, the lack of financial education. Most parents were never taught how money really works. Thus, their children were never taught how money normally works. And their children were never taught, and their children, and so on and so on and so on and so forth. The only time we learned is through trial by fire, right? After we got hit over the head with debt, after we figured out that our credit score was in the 500s, after we got our lights turned off, or after we struggled to pay for an emergency surgery or because our roof fell in. All of these things are wounds that we had that could have been easily avoided if we had the education on the front end. So, how do we fix this education deficit? By educating, right? So it either needs to be done by the parent or it can be done by Mammoth Money Academy. What we do at the Academy is we have a step-by-step training on all of these subjects. We focus on emergency funds. We tell you why they're important, all the things they can cover, and how to actually build one up. Doesn't matter what your job is. It works for janitors. It works for doctors. Doesn't matter. Everyone needs to have an emergency fund. It's required. It's a part of financial literacy. On top of that, we talk about budgeting because outside of the emergency fund, you need to save up stuff for retirement. Maybe you want to retire early. You need to save up things for that. And it's so much when you get into adulthood and you start going through the motions, you don't have time to think about those things, right? It's all being thrown at you. You're panicking, trying to figure out how to cover the next bill. That's how you get on the cycle of living check to check. That's why I'm trying to catch you right now, trying to catch your kids right now while they're still teenagers, while they're still in college. Because it's like, hey, let's go ahead, get these drills in, get these lessons in so you can set yourself up before you get caught up. All right. That's how we tackle that. So, curse number two. So, curse number two is normalizing debt and survival thinking. I don't know if this came from TV, movies, or just enough lineage, but we normalize debt and living paycheck to paycheck way too much, especially in my community, right? It's not normal to be in debt your entire life. It shouldn't be normalized that you have to pass on the water bill this month to pay the electric bill. It shouldn't be normalized that you have to pass on the internet bill to, pay for food this month. All of those are very avoidable, regardless of what job you have. If you have the right mindset, if you have the education to know that it's avoidable. So let my words ring true, regardless of who you are right now, wherever you're at. That that's not normal. Stop accepting that as normal. I'm not saying this to insult your parents. I'm not saying this to insult your family or the way you live your life right now. I'm just letting you know that it's not normal. I don't want you to go through your entire life struggling because you feel like you have to. You don't have to struggle. If you set money aside before things go wrong, when things go wrong, you'll be able to handle it without missing bills. If you set money aside into different vehicles like high yield savings or investments, in the future, you'll be able to stop working for the rest of your life and enjoy time with your loved ones. You don't have to work your entire life. You don't have to work two, three jobs. Contrary to popular belief, that doesn't make your life better. Most of the people that work two or three jobs struggle a lot more than the people who work one job. Isn't that odd? Doesn't that seem wrong? The reason is the person with those two or three jobs does not have good financial management, right? They have that survival thinking in mind. So it doesn't matter if they had 10 jobs, they'd still be in that same position because their thinking won't allow them to make the adjustments in their life that will allow them to get out of that survival state, to get out of living in debt. So, to break this, right, we want to move away from our scarcity mindset into our abundance mindset, right? Pay yourself first. I'm going to say it again. People think it's controversial. Pay yourself before you pay your bills. Before you pay that light bill, before you pay your car insurance, before you pay that water bill, pay yourself. Put something into your emergency savings, put something into your retirement account, put something into your investment portfolio. Doesn't have to be a lot, but something. You need to put something in it every single month. The sooner you start doing that, the sooner you're going to live a better life. Build it up, delay your gratifications, visualize your wealth. You deserve abundance. You don't deserve to struggle. Let's get rid of that normalized thinking. Let's focus on growing things and living a wonderful life, because I promise you, it doesn't matter what your job is, what your background is. You get to decide what your future is, and you start building it today. And number three, the third curse that I hope we all break much sooner than later is silence about money. In many homes, money is either taboo or a trigger word, right? As soon as a kid brings up about what their parent makes or how much a bill is, they get snapped on. Maybe they get slapped on. I don't know, depends on your household. But we need to fix this, because money habits from young mindsets form early on, and they're easier to build in strong kids than to repair in adults, right? The sooner we start talking to kids about money, the sooner they can get a good understanding of it, so they're not shocked by things when they're in college or they're an adult getting their first house or apartment. We as adults, right? We as the parents, we need to soften ourselves a little. We have to be more vulnerable. I don't know if we're afraid that our kid is going to pick on us. I don't know if we're afraid we're going to lose some of our authority if our kid realizes that, maybe we couldn't afford that toy that they wanted, or we couldn't, pay for this top college, so we have to do this, or that we did pay for these things, but now we're in debt and now we're not able to do other things because we paid for these things. If we take the time to vocalize those things to our children, it could potentially save them from running into that situation when they're an adult. And I don't think we internalize that enough. We think we need to keep all this stuff away from them so they can stay in a child's place. But what happens is, this is how it becomes a generational curse. You never tell your kids about it. They end up in the same situation you are, stuck in debt, living paycheck to paycheck. They never tell their kids about it because now they have the same mentality you do. And it just repeats itself over and over and over again. And your entire family lineage lives paycheck to paycheck. And none of them ever get to enjoy abundance because you were too embarrassed to tell your kid that you're $20,000 in debt. How does that feel? You messed up your entire family because you didn't want to talk about your credit card spending or your Macy's card. Doesn't make sense, right? So, provide an open area to discuss finances, whether it be credit, whether it be bills. Honestly, that's super important. Lots of kids have no idea how much bills are until they start receiving bills. That's bad on us as parents. Tell your kids how much bills are for your size house, for the area that you live in, so they can start building some sort of framework on how much they're going to need to make when they're an adult, right? Sometimes we'll complain to our kids about their college choices or their career choices. They're making their choices with the information that they have. If they're missing information because you decided not to give it to them, that's your fault as a parent, respectfully. So let's be more vocal. Let's soften and open up a little bit more when it comes to finances and talking to our children. So at Mammoth Money Academy, we focus on teenagers and young adults. Why, might you ask? I'll show you a graphic. All right. So the reason we focus on teenagers is because we believe we can have an effect on a much more adaptive generation. It's a lot easier to teach them while they're young than to fix all their debt and change their frame of thinking after they're an adult. So the foundation stage is age 13 to 15. The brain develops is the most optimal at this stage. From 16 to 18, that's when they start to become more independent. When they're getting their first job, they're getting their first bank account, they're starting to make their own spending decisions. This is the perfect place to catch them, to explain why they're doing all these things and how to be selective and intentional about making the most out of these decisions. These will lead into their adult decisions and make them much better decision makers, right? 18 to 20 is the launch pad. Crucial, they're making decisions on their education, how much college debt they're going to be in, what credit cards they're going to be decided to go into. Your credit starts when you're 18, right? Get a card then, start building up that credit history, but don't go crazy with it. Be responsible, pay it off. And four, because we're catching them while they're young, all of these lessons that they're getting from 13 up until 20, all those are ingrained in them. They're going to make great decisions and be able to take care of their family, right? And their family, now we're making new generational, not curses, I don't know, the opposite of curses, but we're making new generational norms, and they're going to talk to their kids about finances and how they can better themselves. And, 3, 4 generations later, all those kids should be million, if not billionaires, because all these lessons kept getting adapted into their family, grown, nurtured, and now we have a beautiful financial family, right? It's easier to build strong kids than to repair broken adults, Frederick Douglass. And here's just an example of things that we try to set our teenagers up for at Mammoth Money Academy. We debt free, right? You're young. Why should you have debt? Uh, Credit score. We're gonna, as soon as you hit 18, we're gonna give you every step-by-step instruction on what you need to open, what you need to start to get a beautiful credit score. We're going to show you exactly how to automate your savings to where you can just ignore it. And within a year, you'll have a beautiful emergency savings fund and other streams of income, right? Whether that be from your investments or small side businesses that don't take up too much time. Let's break the cycle today. You're not stuck. You're just one system, one mindset shift, one generation away from financial freedom. And Mammoth Money Academy can get you there. If you're interested in applying, click the link in the description. Thank you.